Chapter 17. Scuba in the Florida Keys. It was the hot summer of 1980. Herman steered his GMC Jimmy pickup truck past the heavily congested number 1 highway from Miami to 821 through to the Florida Panhandle and down to the Keys. Once off number 1, it was mostly clear driving. This was the second day of travel. We were both exhausted and eager to get on with our scuba diving adventure. It was the last leg of the journey, all the way from Windsor. Only stopping for gas, we clocked a little over 24 hours of drive time. The night was quickly approaching. The smell of sea air was intoxicating as the sun began dipping below the horizon. Most traffic had almost completely dissipated. The interstate funneled us into a series of causeways and bridges, leading to a narrow series of islands called the Florida Keys. They were comprised exclusively of soft, white sea coral. With Herman at the wheel, fatigue was straining our ability to stay awake. Construction created a labyrinth of road passages. With ocean water on both sides, the seemingly endless black turnpike pavement narrowed into a single lane. Only the painted lines and an endless series of orange pylons delineated navigation along the newly paved black asphalt. Headlights fluoresced the road markings and served as our only guides. With the exception of the glowing road lines, the blackness rendered everything invisible. The moonless night created an otherworldly darkness as Herman's white-knuckled the pickup truck up along an expressway interspersed with numerous single lanes and under-construction sections. Off in the distance, a pair of headlights could be seen approaching at an alarming speed. Our trance was broken. At the last second, the speeding car deliberately swung into our lane and headed straight for us. A head-on collision was imminent. In a split second, Herman expertly swerved hard right, only to luckily tuck into a small gap between pylons. We skidded to an abrupt stop, with the speeding car missing us by inches. The space we now occupied had large excavated holes in front and behind us. The speeding car continued in a blur, seemingly oblivious to the near-death experience. With the truck idling and still, we both stared ahead with a mixture of shock and relief, knowing that we had just narrowly avoided a head-on collision with a car, seemingly playing a deadly game of chicken. Throughout a lifetime of driving, most people can recall those close-call driving experiences, and this one will be chalked up as one of those. We arrived safely at John Pettycamp Park and Campground on Key Largo. The tents were set up, followed by a full day of scuba diving aboard a weathered dive boat. Meeting a number of other diving enthusiasts, we were invited to a social around the campfire later that evening. While our wetsuits hung to dry around the campfire, Herman and I barbecued a hogfish that we managed to spear that day. Although Florida is synonymous with a hot climate, especially in the summer, the nights happened to be surprisingly cool. Stars shimmered from horizon to horizon. The warmth of the crackling fire felt good as people gathered and took a chair encircling the burning logs and driftwood. Lively discussions of our diving experiences were the topic of conversation. Most were Florida residents who, when discovering we were Canadian, began plying us with all sorts of questions, some of which were naive, with a person asking how warm igloos are in the winter. We were apparently a novelty. What surprised them most was how similar we were to them in both language and culture. Differences became stark when pistols began being passed around the circle. Each gun owner began describing the particulars of their model and caliber. Eventually, questions focused on us and the whereabouts of our guns. Why were you not sharing? Replying, "We don't have any guns." A look of disbelief permeated people's faces. Whispers arose accompanied with suspicious looks. The guy sitting next to me expressed that perhaps we were just being coy. Another lamented, "You're here camping without any protection?" One lamented that it was simply reckless and foolish not to carry. I expressed further that Canadians don't commonly own guns, nor find the need for them. Other than perhaps for hunting, I expressed. At best, they probably felt we lacked better judgment. As it was, we had a most exciting and safe Florida diving experience in spite of our lack of handguns.